Hello and welcome to DDOCast episode 507, recorded live on Saturday, February 17th. I'm your host, Patrick. With me this week, we have returning to the show, Voodu. Welcome back, sir.
Hey, everyone.
How you been?
Pretty damn good. I still haven't showered since the last time I was on, though.
The last time you were on when it aired, or the last time you were on when you were recording? Those are two different things now, remember?
That is correct. I'm not going to say.
Our screenshot for the week. Daydream visits the 12 as snow falls in the 354th screenshot of the week. Did it always used to snow everywhere? I felt like that was a new thing this year. I thought it just snowed in the harbor.
It's a graphical effect. Like if you go to the harbor and then you go somewhere else, the atmospheric thing just like carries with you. That's why you can like snow on your guild ship and snow in Giant Hold and snow in weird places.
Right, but it didn't always do that, did it?
Yeah.
Did it? Okay.
It did.
Well, I guess I wasn't paying attention enough. We like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons online nearly every weekend. You can watch us through Twitch, YouTube, the DDO forums, iTunes, or from our website, DDOCast.com. DDOCast is hosted by Cybereaters, the awesome podcast hosting network, and shows are usually available within a few days of recording. The next show will probably be next weekend. You can stay updated by following us on our social media pages or our website, DDOCast.com, with our calendar. On the podcast this week, not a whole lot, a lot less news than we've had the last couple weeks, but we'll kind of catch up on that. Some community news. Voodu has some stuff to plug for tonight as well, so we'll get into that. But for now, let's talk about game news. There was a little bit of an update. So we've gotten the previews of the Druid and the Artificer. And maybe just to kind of quick start, what do you think about those? Because you weren't here on the show for that. What do you think about the changes to Druid and Artificer?
I'm really excited for the change. I mean, I don't play Artificer, so I can't even speak to that, but I love my Druids, Druid Fanatic, Caster Druid Fanatic. And I am really excited for the changes, and I think there are a lot of positive steps being made. I am a little bit worried that not enough is happening. Druids have been so far behind the power curve, and I'm not looking for Druid casters to become the new, Fiend Pack, Cone Blaster, Double Finger Death Charm, and destroy everything build, but I would definitely like to see Druid casters be brought a lot closer to the curve than they currently are. So really happy about the work that's been done, optimistic. I hope that there's going to be more done.
That's fair. There were some updates on kind of the Artificer stuff. I don't think we mentioned it before, but they had a video with Steelstar, much like they did with Torque on Druids. They did one with Steelstar and Artificers this week, and he gave us some updates. One of which is that they're planning on getting Artificer changes out with update 38, which would be the next update, so that's kind of neat. There was some stuff that they changed a little bit in the trees. So there was some spell power in the new tree. That's being changed to some melee abilities. We looked at the numbers and said, maybe that's a little too much spell power. There's some other things that they're looking at tweaking. There was the temporary hit point thing is they're looking at tweaking the numbers or maybe making it a whole new thing. I really hope they don't make it a new thing. I like the ability. I'd kind of like it to maybe just find the right number range and kind of have it be a little fun. And then they did answer the question that we were wondering if getting repair amplification does not make you repairable. It's still being multiplied by your base repair amp, which is essentially 0 unless you have something that gives it to you, like being a Warforged or something like that. So, also this is kind of interesting. The rune arm sounds will return when the tree goes live, along with an options menu option to turn your personal rune arm sounds on and off, which is kind of neat. Makes you kind of wonder if there are things that they can do to other classes, perhaps. I wonder if you can turn like the clink 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 from a repeater off.
That'd be nice.
I guess you could just kind of turn the combat sounds down, but like to isolate that thing might be kind of nice. And there you go. That's the sum total of the news this week. Really slow news week, but bonus days, double daily dice for the weekend. Store news, plus 20 hearts are on sale through February 18th. With that, you get a +5 Heart of Wood with your purchase. That is they always do that now because of the 3-class restriction. So the idea is, if you want to use a +20 heart to just change everything, if you have 3 classes already, you can only use one of those 3 classes. You can never have more than 3 classes in the game, and as you're reincarnating, that includes classes levels you haven't taken yet. So they give you the +5 so you can take one of those classes out first, then to change one of the classes to one of the other 2 classes you have, and then you can use a +20 Heart Wood to be whatever you want. That's kind of the reason why they do that. Although watch out for alignment restrictions. That can kind of hose you too.
Mm-hmm.
You will have a very hard time going from a barbarian to a paladin.
That whole process is a little bit confusing to people. I'd really like to see them change the way you can use a +20 heart so that you can more freely change out the classes and stuff. Because too many people just screw it up. I have screwed it up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they get lots of calls about it. It'd probably save them some grief in the long run.
I haven't messed up the level thing, but that has more to do with the fact that I don't typically have 3 class levels than anything else.
Yeah.
I have messed up the alignment restriction, though. Like, start leveling a character. Like, okay, I'm going to go take a monk level. I'm not lawful. Why am I not lawful? That was silly. Hello, store. So. At least they have something that you can fix that, so that's nice. All right, the other sales for the week. Store more loot. You can get 30% off, which is a pretty darn good price. The character banks, shared bank space, crafting storage, and platinum vault upgrades.
That's the first time that shared bank 18's ever been on sale, so this is something
there we go.
new.
I need to check if I have that.
I didn't, so I yoinked it right up.
Yeah, I usually don't buy them until they're on sale, but I should probably buy another crafting storage space too, because mine's getting a little full. Although I think I said this before too, I could take out like the 10 stacks of prayer beats, create some space.
And the things that single stack in there too. That's a big space saver.
Yeah, the discs. The filigree is singly stacked, but I think they mostly single stack in the bags too. At least the different kinds, but I don't know. Mine's not full yet, but it's probably getting close. Although I noticed recently that I couldn't tell how many spots I had because it just says this is how many spots you're using of this many.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not really sure how close I am to being full, other than I'm pretty sure I'm close. The coupon for the week. You get a free Lesser Treasure Hunter's Elixir with the coupon code TRESHUNT, so TRES Hunt, through February 22nd. Those are kind of fun. If you don't know what they do, they make it so that you get a little bit extra bonus to your loot roll. And that's the quality of loot, not what you get. It's not going to affect your named loot or anything like that. It just says when you roll a D100 on loot tables, add 5 to it. So it gives you a little bit better quality of loot. That covers that stuff. So let's talk about community news, where we have the 271st Chronicle. Maze Arcana and Wizards of the Coast have announced a new upcoming Eberron-focused tabletop live stream. So you'll be able to catch the show on Maze Arcana's Twitch channel, but it will also be hosted on DDO stream. Kind of neat. If you're interested in watching some people play pen and paper. I haven't watched them, but I do hear that they're one of the better ones to watch and enjoy. Bruce Shepard uploads frequent DDO videos on YouTube. Most recently, they ran Slave Pits of the Undercity. The guild for the week, the Shadow Legion, is looking to recruit new players on DDO who want to help build a new guild from scratch on Cannith. Let's see, the comment for the week. What is the name of the best store in Barovia?
Beerovia.
There you go. See
what I did there?
I do see what you did there. Let's see. Best store name. I know what store I want to name. I'm just trying to figure out what the name of it is. What's her name? Morganda's Best Meat Pies or something like that?
Oh, you interpreted the question different than I did. You see it as, what do you think is the best store name of the stuff that's there? I thought it was like, make up your own and
No,
be
I'm just
creative.
I'm not as creative. Really, that's what it comes down to. So, and I have a personal affinity to that whole storyline, because of doing Sweeney Todd, the musical Sweeney Todd, which
Yep.
shares a theme there. No spoilers. See, DDOCast got a shout out in the fan site news for our show last week on leveling 23 to 24, which will be continuing today, and do 25 to 26, which will wrap up this series of that. DDO Players News formed a D12 support group. Sip went spelunking in the caverns of Koromar. A very bad guild got shamed by the Dreaming Dark. That's a really easy place to get shamed in, let me say. I like this one. Evil Beaker has the Barovian Blood Bank. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, that is good.
Let's see. Mickey ran the Ravenloft raids. Bachelor Gore plays DDO every Friday night on DDO Stream. Strimtom has the best Vanguard. DDO PL spits arrows. Brock and Friends roleplay on DDO Stream. King Cosmar ran Ravenloft for last Saturday's show. Bard Life has a week. Even ran Reaper in the Orchard. And McVegan Pants heads to Necropolis. I feel like every week there's like a new group that I haven't heard of in this list, which is pretty awesome.
I know, right? That is cool.
I mean, that's a long list of people right there. And that's probably not everyone who's streaming DDO, so hats off to all the streamers. That's a lot of stuff. That's pretty awesome.
Good job, guys.
The videos that I alluded to earlier that Steelstar and Torque did are also linked to in the Let's Talk Shop section of the Chronicle, so if you want more information on those, you can go there. There's also some show times are changing on DDO Stream. Sam Scarobo's stream will follow the Noob on Wednesday starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Shoemaker will stream DDO Wiki Talk on Wednesday mornings. I think if you go to their channel, you can see the whole calendar. That's probably mostly current, but other stuff. See, Axel has a video on choosing your DDO class. A very bad guild ran into the road. And you have a video that's a pre-video currently, but by the time this is published, will be out. Do you want to talk about that? Your Ravenloft teaching raids?
Oh, yes. So, well, let me mention teaching raids in general. So, for 5 years now on Sarlona, me and my guild have been hosting teaching raids for newer players, or even for longtime veterans who just maybe haven't raided for whatever reason, or maybe you're just new to whatever raid we're doing that week. It's all good, whether you've never done the raid or you've just done it a few times and you're still learning. We go through the whole raid, explain how it works in a real low stress, fun learning environment. And every week I post details in the Sarlona forum about which raid we're doing every week, and we're going to work through all the raids in the game, some of them twice, some of the older raids we'll just do once. And this week, tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, is the new Ravenloft teaching raids, Old Baba's Hut and Curse of Strahd. So if you're on Sarlona and you're flagged for those, there's no flagging for Baba's Hut, but there is a lot of flagging for Curse of Strahd. Check out my post on the Sarlona forum. We're going to be live streaming the event. We live stream all the events. So even if you're on another server, if you're new to those raids, you can watch live, ask questions, and learn right along with us. It's always a lot of fun. And that's live streamed through my YouTube channel.
And then it'll be available afterwards.
Yeah. All the live streams and teaching raid videos that we've done in the past are all on my YouTube channel, Voodu Spice.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see what you guys do. It's on our list to do a DDOcast discussion on the 2 new raids, and kind of similar to what we've done with Epic Education, and talking through the new raids and kind of strategy and stuff like that, which soon, hopefully, but that's coming up. Yeah, have fun. Your videos are always really great for that too. Really clear on what's going on and how to do it.
Oh, thanks, man.
Great if you want to get into raiding just in general. Great opportunity there to do that.
Yeah, I want to say that I was surprised somewhat recently to learn how few of DDO players actually raid. And I love raiding. We've been raiding for years, and we're really trying to get more people involved. I know that there's a lot of reasons why people avoid raiding. It can be intimidating. You may have had bad experiences, or maybe it just seems overwhelming for you. Like I said, these events, they're for you. If you feel that way, that you're exactly who these events are for. And they are, like I said, they're a low stress learning environment. We make it fun. We explain how it works. So I hope that if you're on Sarlona, you'll give it a chance.
Or even if you're not on Sarlona.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's see. Other stuff in the community. Let's see. City Plays DDO had a Reaper conundrum, trying to play Reaper, kind of deciding whether or not they like it, and trying to stick with it. Gaming SF did a post on Bring the Fire Resistance, running Taming the Flames. Which, yes, bring the fire resistance. You will want that for sure. Let's see other stuff going on. DDO Splat news. We're playing our third season. We got our butts kicked last week. We were running like 2 skulls in the orchard, and then we went to 2 skulls in the Vale with like right off the bat. And boy, those not being 2 levels above the quest on normal, it makes a lot of difference. We got hosed in Rainbow of Flames, and had just a ton of champions too. Champion fire elementals, not so nice.
Oh, those are terrifying.
Yes, especially when you get in like those little boxed rooms and there's like 4 of them.
I've been there. Oh man, I've had a party wipe in Rainbow in the Dark.
Yeah.
In that pit trap with all those fire elementals.
That was a little brutal. And then at the very end of the quest, I realized that I had a Cloak of Ice on my character, that I didn't use it the entire quest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So there you go. Great. And that will take us to our lightning post. We had Nunya Business wrote in saying that he could picture House Kenneth coming up with something like the rune arm, but with a chainsaw blade. He got a good laugh out of that visual. Name the character wielding it. Ash Campbell takes a bow. There's been a lot of talk actually recently about what they could do with rune arms and stuff. There was a little bit of a tease by Steelstar, in fact, in the video about having exploding iron defenders. Not a promise, but
great.
like they're just kind of talking about what they could do, because now one of the nice changes that's going to happen for both artificers and druids is that you're not going to have a penalty for when your pet dies anymore.
That is an awesome change.
Yeah,
it's
right?
about time, and I'm so happy about that.
I don't think anyone's really going to be complaining about that one. It's kind of a nice thing, and maybe people actually use their pets more often.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I will.
Okay, our survey question for the week. This comes from Jet Rule on Kenneth. This is a multi-part question, which is great because we have a little extra time this week. What are the best overall survivors, killers, and utility kinds of builds? We don't need to get like really specific, but maybe we could kind of help point in some different directions, as it were, if that makes sense. I would say melee. Knife fighters are pretty popular right now, and especially if you get like a rogue knife fighter, that can be a lot of fun. So I know you're not really much into the melee range of things. Sword and board fighters can be pretty beefy. Monks, I think, are pretty popular right now, especially with the new hand wraps out of Curse of Strahd. Those would probably be kind of... I would say melee is probably the lesser of the killer survivable builds, though. Especially if you're going to start running in like things like Reaper, and there are some noticeable penalties to being melee compared to other things. Like Reapers can slow your attack speed down if they touch you, and if you're in melee, that's a lot easier for them to do. Actually, one of the things I least like about Reaper. Range tend to be, I think, a little bit more survivable, probably a little bit better in the killing aspect these days. Whether using a bow or throwers are really popular. shuriken builds and stuff like that. Casters, I think your druid is pretty survivable, right?
Yeah, that's one of the things I like about the Druid caster is that it can be built to be a lot more survivable than more traditional casters. So a Druid can be a very well-rounded class. So, and that's how I like to play. And the first part of that question is mentions survivability. So, and that's a play style that I enjoy. I build for survivability on all my tunes. So, the caster Druid, if you like well-roundedness, is definitely more survivable and can be built to be more survivable than traditional casters. And I also like I have an Enlightened Spirit tank that I build for survivability. It's pure 20 Warlock Enlightened Spirit, and the aura makes you very survivable, all the temporary hit points. And so, those can be, if you're doing Reaper mode and survivability is a problem for you, those can be kinds of builds that sort of help take you to the next step. Because you can survive in Reaper mode, and you can survive being up front. I'm a close quarters playstyle kind of a person. I build for survivability. It's not the flashiest DPS in the world, but I enjoy it. I have fun with it.
The nice thing about a druid caster too is you have that utility healing involved as well. You have a good range of spells that you can cast that are offensive, and then also healing and kind of defensive buffing kind of a thing.
Oh yeah, crowd control, healing, long range casting. I love it.
It's probably the most versatile casting spell selection in terms of what you can do. Bards have a pretty good similar selection going on in that they can be healy or more in the crowd control kind of range and that kind of a thing. Artificers have a lot of utility as well. So if you're looking for more of a utility build, I'd probably point to those three classes more than anything else. But at the end of the day, though, the one thing I really want to hit home is, some of them are more flavor of the month kind of things, but you can do a really good job with, being a survivor, building something that's survivable or something that has good DPS with most character classes. And some of them are harder than others, but you can get there on pretty much any class, character type that you're going for. There's a lot of versatility in the game and what you're going to build. So
I'll also plug another really popular build. Just generally speaking, it's the Soul Eater, Tainted Scholar, Fiend Pack, Cone Shape Warlock, where you got 2 Fingers of Death. You've got the ability to insta kill so much, and then charm so much, and then your Cone Shape is just awesome for wrecking stuff in groups. So without getting to the nuts and bolts of how that build is set up and stuff, it is if you like a more like keep at a distance kind of a play style, that is a very, very strong build right now.
Yep.
Is wrecking everything in like Heroic Reapers.
All good options there. All right, we're going to close out this part of the show for today. You've already plugged your teaching ridge. Anything else you want to plug before we head out?
No.
Well, thanks for listening to the show. Thanks to all the contributors for DDOCast. Thanks to Voodu for joining me this morning as well. And thanks to Standing Stone Games and Wizards of the Coast. And to Cyber for hosting the podcast. If you'd like to support the show, you can visit our website, DDOCast.com, or you can support us on Patreon. All of that support goes into prizes and stuff like that for the show. You can hit us up at DDOCast.com for show notes, MP3s, our calendar, previous shows, and other fun stuff. If you'd like to be a part of the show, or if you have a comment on this episode, maybe a question you'd like to hear us answer, love getting questions from listeners, particularly about stuff like we're talking about today that doesn't have a quote correct answer that you can kind of talk about a little bit. Maybe a question you'd like to hear us debate, really go at it or something like that. Or just want to say hi, you can leave us a comment or email us at ddocast@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media for the latest cast updates. At DDOCast on Twitter is the best place. Our closing tip comes from Lorincho on Argonessence. Says, do not allow yourself to be encircled by monsters. Great advice. Stay tuned for our leveling episode on levels 25 to 26. right, welcome back. We are talking about leveling. We're talking about levels 25 and 26 today. I'm your host, Patrick. With me this week, we have Salalazing.
Hello, how are you?
Good. And Cordovan, community manager at Standing Stone Games.
Hello, Greg. Glad to be here.
Yeah. Last time we were talking about levels 3 and 24. We are kind of wrapping up this grouping of leveling this week. We're going to be talking about levels 25 to level 26. And we're going to do a couple other roundtable topics. Then we'll come back to leveling and finish with levels 27 to 32 as kind of the next wave of that. Yes, I said 32. I know you'd only go to level 30. We're talking about quest levels, the actual quest levels. That's kind of where we're grouping on. And we've mentioned in the past weeks, we might kind of mention Slayers. We're going to do a show more geared towards Slayers in general, kind of go through all the Slayer areas and kind of get into that as well. But today, we're talking about level 25 and 26. This will be pretty fast because we're just talking about this off the air. There's not a lot of choices here, which is probably why Giant Hold is so good and popular, because it'll get you through this range too, right? So... Speaking of Giant Hold, level 25, there's the Fall of Truth, which is actually probably not too bad in terms of XP, just because it can be pretty quick at this point.
And, now with sentient weapons, you're going to get some good named loot that you can, get relatively high XP, pretty much guaranteed to get probably something from the chest when you run it. Fairly good chance anyway. Not necessarily something great, but you're going to get something probably.
I don't see many level 25ers running that raid, but it is a 25. That one's it's a tough raid.
It's not too bad these days. I think the thing is that DDO has a long history of raids are not XP runs.
Yeah.
So it really doesn't matter. There's a few exceptions to that rule. The notable ones being Von 5, which we talked about a couple weeks ago, and the Shroud. Other than that,
right.
I mean, there's... Okay, sure, the Titan pre-raid is a pretty large chunk of XP, but no one's running that. And you can't run it in Epics anyways. So, you just have... I think there's a large portion of the population that just says, oh, raids, not good XP. And to a certain extent that they're right. The first time isn't too bad, because you get the first time bonus. But you tend not to be doing it when they're coming out, especially. You tend not to be doing them on Elite because they're harder, they're raids. So you're not getting the Elite first time bonus and all the bravery bonuses and all that stuff. And you run them over and over again. So, the second and third and fourth time you run them, you're not getting good XP.
Right.
But, we don't generally run raids for XP anyways, other than, Von 5 is really the notable exception to that. Shroud, to a certain extent, I think people were actually running it for the ingredients as well, but people do take advantage of the fact that it's a lot of XP.
I like Fall of Truth, though. It's a fun raid, and because of that, the guild tends to run it a fair amount. The other thing is, if this is your first time going through this level range, you probably want to check it out for some of the loot, too. There's some pretty good loot there that, even in today's environment is still not bad. So.
Definitely is.
It's probably in my top echelon of raids in terms of execution and what is involved with running the raids. It's probably not top tier for me anymore, but I think that has more to do with the quality of the raids that have been coming out than the quality of that raid in and of itself. So it's a very one of the better designed raids. It's just we've gotten a lot of good, well designed raids in the game too. So.
But I often find around level 25 is when I'm really starting to think about my gear sets and all that. It can be a little challenging, and that's again a side conversation, but I'm often looking for stuff. It's like, okay, now I actually start to need to worry a lot more about my gear at this point. So,
Definitely.
The other option of quests to do at level 25 is Three Barrel Cove, which comes with a beautiful wilderness area. And some really good quests. The one that's probably going to be we should mention the most is Two-Toed Tobias, or Alleged Revisited. Pretty sure I got that right.
Yeah.
No one
that's
ever
right.
calls it a Legend Revisited, so
No,
Yeah.
no one calls
Throws
it
me out
that.
of
I
it.
didn't know it was named that in front of it 100 times.
yeah. The reason why, one, it's pretty good XP to put on your daily, but I think most of the reason why
Definitely.
it's on people's daily routine has more to do with the Gibbers Blade than anything else.
You
Oh,
can
yeah.
always use another one,
Well, they're exclusive, so they only let you carry one.
Well, but if you don't have it on your character, you can always use another
Absolutely.
one. Yeah. The other thing is, it's easy to get to because it's
Yep.
right there. So it's a quick run to get to. It is pretty short once you've been farming it a lot for that Blade of the Jack Givers, and things like that. So it's probably one of the most popular level 25 quests for sure.
Well, I mean, other than the raid, there's only 5 to choose from, and one of them you
Yeah.
need to flag for. But yeah, it's. I am sure if you were able to be a fly on the wall or look in on Standing Stone Games metrics, I'm just gonna hazard a guess and say that quest is probably run about 5 times more than any of the other level 25 quests.
Oh yeah, that more than any level 25. It's been a while since I've seen the chart, but it is one of the most run quests in the game for sure.
Yeah, and I think that it's not just it's a pretty easy quest. There's nothing really. The vampires can be a little tricky, especially if they're a challenge or not a challenge, a champion.
Yeah.
But other than that, those guys give a pretty good optional XP. You can run it pretty fast. You can do a little bit of splitting up to maximize your time. Nothing is terribly difficult, and it has. Can we just say the most sought after item in DDO? I mean, is there an item that people want more than that? Because probably not. Because who doesn't want that in their inventory, right?
It's pretty close, yeah.
It's certainly the biggest game changer. I mean, it's a game changer. Once you get that, you have powers that you never had before, and it's not a DPS item. Interestingly enough,
And for those who don't know, what happens is once you die, you can click on the item. It will bring you back to life for a minute, and then you die again. But during that time, you can't die again. So.
Oh, you can die again.
Oh yeah.
You can totally
Yeah.
die again. I have proven that
Yep.
theory a few dozen
but
times.
you can res people. You can make your way to the shrine. You can carry people to the shrine. You can do anything that you can normally do. I actually don't have one, but
Except
no,
the
I don't know. Can you hit a res shrine in that 1 minute and be alive at the end of the 1 minute?
No,
I'm not sure
you
about
will
that.
die at the end of a minute.
Oh, okay.
At least
Gotcha.
I think so. Like I say, I'm not entirely up on the mechanics of it, but again, I only have it on one character, and that's on Wayfinder,
You can
which I got in my very first run.
Nice.
My
No
very
way.
first run in the quest on Wayfinder, and I was like, "Whoa, no way!" Yeah.
Then they changed the drop rate probably after you pulled that.
I was
I did it. Yeah, I did it on the live stream. Even that was even better. It was one of those things where it's like a double take. Whoa, what? No, because you're just so
Yeah.
used to not seeing it that when it's there, it's
Yeah,
like,
really.
yeah.
I did. I was for a while running it twice a day, as often as I could, and trying to cycle some characters through and get it on a bunch of different characters. And I got on a hot streak, and I think I got like 8 of them in like 15 runs or something absolutely
Holy moly.
ridiculous like that. It was nuts.
Wow.
I think 2 or 3 of them I didn't pull myself, but it was pretty ridiculous how many I was getting at that point. I don't think I've seen one
Wow.
since in my name since, but I haven't been looking.
I've never pulled it. I've run it at least 100 times. I've never pulled it. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it was remarkable. My general loot luck was lousy for another like 3 or 4 months to offset that. I think, but it was pretty.
Yeah.
It was pretty nice. Let's talk about some of the other ones in this. Like I said, Two-Tone Tobias is probably the easiest one of these, anyways.
Oh, by far.
Ghost of the Chance is the one with the really giant puzzle at the end, or you can do the fight.
Which you don't have to do.
Yeah, you don't have to do. And I think I've only actually done once or twice. The Old Tomb New Tenants is probably the most difficult out of all of them because there's so many Yanti who have pretty decent spell resistance, and there's casters all over the place. There's casters that are hard to get to.
Yeah.
That have distance from the melees and stuff like that. It's probably easily the hardest one. Prove Your Worth has some pretty nasty traps in it.
Well, before I get to Prove Your Worth, because that's a personal favorite of mine. But Old Tomb New Tenants actually does have, if you're going for mysterious remnants of that as well, I find Old Tomb New Tenants is a great way to farm for kind of champions in that too, because there are a lot of mobs in there. So
I like to choose my champion mobs to be less difficult and annoying personally.
See, I guess I don't find that quest too difficult. There's a few spots in there that can be challenging, but for the most part, it's not too bad. So.
The thing that makes that mob selection kind of difficult is because of what kind of mobs they are a lot of archers and casters, and because of the way that they're placed in the terrain, which, from my perspective, looks a lot like what I would do to my pen and paper group, which probably explains why they die a few times throughout the year. But
all right, so now Prove Your Worth, the easiest, fastest, and most rewarding quest in the game. Yes, I am not lying. People will disagree with me, but they are wrong. You are wrong. I see you. You are wrong. Prove Your Worth is an awesome quest. Once you figure out how to do it, it's a very fast quest. And it's got tons of XP per minute in there, and it's not that difficult.
I'm still at best 50-50 with the spike drop.
But
yeah. that's where the gibbers comes in handy.
That's true. There is a spike drop. You may die there, but otherwise, it gets a much worse rap than it deserves, in my opinion.
It's very trap heavy. That's kind of what it comes down to. And there's a couple of spots. There's that spike shaft. There's the spinning blade traps that follow you, and then there's the elevator shaft, which is pretty brutal if you don't have a rogue and you're running it on decent difficulties.
Yes, if you do not have a rogue, do not run Prove Your Worth. That is all there is to it.
Precious Cargo is fun, although I did once not get stopped by the main boss ship, which I don't think is supposed to happen. But so that one was 10 minutes, and every other one has been considerably longer, just because you got to do the end boss ship. But
I find Precious Cargo to be one of the more difficult quests, personally.
Isn't it really long? I mean, maybe we're doing it wrong. That's not real long.
It's the thing for, and I apologize to Jerry for being on the show for this, but it's one of those mechanics that the Precious Cargo and Into the Deep share a common theme for me. Of like, this mechanic sounds really cool, and then it happened, and we got it, and it kind of fell flat for me, being the underwater combat and the airship combat. Because I know we were all really excited about doing airship combat, and then their cannons were far more accurate and powerful than the ones that we got. It didn't turn out very well.
Yeah, I've always wanted us to go back and figure out a way to fix that. But there's some real engineering and technical issues that are involved. I've had some discussions with engineers about that airship bombardment and why it is the way it is, but it's probably not going to change.
And there's ways to get around. You can kind of live through it and figure out how to get through the whole thing. But let's talk about level 26 quests, which there are more than level 25, which is about all we can say about it.
I was going to say one thing about Cargo. Sure. You've got the broken music box in there, which is a pretty cool item. It's a 3 slots trinket, and also there's a hidden effect on it, the cacophonic guard, and that's kind of an interesting item. I've used that on a couple different builds.
I always love hidden effects. They're kind of fun. Although I never know about them until long after I don't have the item anyway. So, whatever. Level 26. A Study in Sable. I still haven't run Study in Sable. Confession time.
What?
I never
you have
ran
never
it.
run
No.
Study in Sable?
Never run it.
Do you know what's going to happen? I'm going to let Lessa know this.
That's
and
fine.
She's going to force you to run Study in Sable. You have not run Study in Sable. What is wrong with you?
I've never run Study in Sable, and never run Brothers in the Forge.
They're free quests.
I know. I just never ran them.
Wow.
They're probably the only 2 quests I've never run.
That is insane. Study in Sable is a great quest. It's one of the more diverse quests in the game with optionals. It was designed back in the day by Knockback, and I think with the help of some other people. It was our ode to Ravenloft before there was a Ravenloft.
Oh, interesting.
And you can really tell if you know Ravenloft and Study and Sable. There's a lot of that kind of mechanic in the classic Ravenloft quest pack that kind of has a little bit of a nod in Study and Sable. But man, that's a great quest. It's not the shortest quest. It's actually quite long, particularly if you don't know what you're doing. And there's a lot of just like dialogue and things to puzzle out. But it also, like I said, there's more going on in that quest than and half a dozen other quests. So it's a really, really cool one. One of my personal favorites.
Most of the stuff you just mentioned is why I've never run it, because the card I run with, like long quest, lots of dialogue, go run something else. So, there's the what's the Reign of Madness? Is that the pack? Palace of Stone, Terminal Delirium, and Fashion Madness, which are available in Heroics as well. Look, you have to run Terminal Delirium at least once.
Yeah.
At least once. You got to run it. Take friends.
Yep.
Yeah, someone knows what they're doing, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I like Terminal Delirium a lot, but I don't know that I would recommend it on Epic Elite unless you are a glutton for punishment, and I would definitely not run it on Reaper unless you really, really are good.
There are mechanics in there that make you more vulnerable to damage than you normally would be.
That is one tough quest.
Yeah, that's one of the quests that Makar did for his challenge several years ago. That was I spent more time than I needed to in Terminal Delirium trying to solo it at like level 14 or something like that.
I'm tempted to say it might actually be one of the most difficult quests in the entire game.
I would not argue that point, to be
definitely
honest.
In the top 5, definitely.
It's a very difficult quest. It's if you're doing it on a higher difficulty. Like if you're at level 30 and you're running on an epic normal, you should be fine. And like I said, it's definitely worth running at least once. It is a fun quest.
Fashion Madness is also pretty tricky. There's some I've seen a lot. I have been a part of many party waves in that quest.
I think there's two reasons why I think this chain doesn't get run very often. One is because the loot wasn't compelling enough for people to run it a lot, and two, it was a noticeable difficulty bump compared to what else is available at this level. And that's true in Heroic and in Epics. Still, I'd say, if you haven't run Terminal Delirium, even if you do it on casual and Positive Bravery Shake, run it at least once. It's...
Yeah.
Unless if you hate Acute Delirium and Delirium, then okay, don't run Terminal Delirium. I don't know what's wrong with you, but you're not gonna have fun in Terminal Delirium if you don't like those.
Palace of Stone is one of my personal absolute favorite quests. I know it's not the most popular opinion, but I think it is. Here's why I like it. I love the DM voice work in that quest. I think it might be my favorite DM voice work in the game because it's hilarious. Knockback had this idea for the quest and he executes it so well. There are parts of it I really, really like. It's weird. It's funny. It doesn't take itself very seriously. It's silly and strange and fun. It's just fun. I love this quest personally.
You like the
if
DM
you're
work?
a thief acrobat, what's that? Thief acrobat, that's a must run because those quarterstaffs in there are really useful for a quarterstaff build.
Do you like the DM work in Palace of Stone more than Tower of Frost?
Oh yeah, definitely. That guy from Tower of Frost is an idiot. Yeah.
So your last option is level 26, and probably the place you're going to go more often than not is Wayloon, which is how do I put this? It's located in the most drearily beautiful wilderness area you're going to find. It's a fun wilderness area. Kind of a neat rooftop town, but it is a little dreary, intentionally so. It's supposed to be. So I said it's beautifully dreary. But there's 5 quests out there. So there's 4 quests plus the capstone. The quests themselves are all pretty straightforward. There's none of the Thrill of the Hunt can have a pretty brutal end fight if you are not light on your feet. But otherwise, those quests are all they're not too difficult.
Well, I don't know. The chain attack on those Shatter Kai can really tear you up.
Yeah. The generic, the base ones, as long as they're not a champion though, it'll hurt a little bit, but it's not gonna totally smoke you too bad. If you see a champion one of those, then yeah, that can be brutal. Or like I said, the end boss for Thrill of the Hunt can be pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Lesson Deception is fun, just just from a story standpoint. It has some interesting things going on in it. Through a Mirror Darkly, which is the capstone, I see a lot actually on daily runs, which I'm glad to see. It is it's like Inferno of the Damned. Is the closest quest analog. There's two sides to it. You have to navigate. You have to go back and forth between the sides to navigate the area. It's essentially a square with a bunch of offshoot rooms on 2 levels, and 2 sides. So it's I kind of like it. If you don't know where things are and you don't know what you're doing, you could easily spend an hour and a half in there.
Yeah, it's one of the few quests that I've actually given up on because I've gotten so lost. It doesn't have. It's happened a couple of times where it's like I could have sworn that I've been through everything, and I'm still not finding the one thing I need. And so I'll go to the wiki and I'll try to recreate the path, and it still isn't working. And it's just like, all right, fine then, I'm done. But that's not always the case in this quest. If I'm not in charge, if I'm not leading it, then I just follow along, and we do fine. So, yeah.
If you get a good group together, and a group that can kind of split up and go in multiple directions at the same time, you can do this quest in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's really good XP for only being 20 minutes long. Really good XP for only being 20 minutes long. So, but you got to know what you're doing and where you're going. Otherwise, you can get if nothing else, just try and go. If you have someone who's really reliable at finding doors, you can just do the lower level and just go clockwise or counterclockwise, your choice, and then go to the second level and go clockwise and counterclockwise and just flip around as needed. So,
yeah.
Anything else you guys want to say about 25, 26 before we wrap this up?
Not really. I often run a lot of Three Barrel Cove stuff around the mid epics like this. Not necessarily at level 25, maybe even earlier, but I often find myself. I sort of see, and I see why you split it up the way you did. There's like sort of level 27 and up, and then level 21 to 27. And for me, I tend to just sort of run a lot of the quests that we were talking about earlier at level 25 and level 26 until I'm level 27. It depends on what my goal is, but a lot of times, I'm leveling up to stay at level 30 for a while. And in that case, I'm less concerned about, say, immediate leveling paths and all that sort of thing. For me, at level 25, I'm running Three Barrel Cove and then whatever else I haven't gotten to. That's basically what I do. So.
Yeah, I definitely find when I get to this kind of level ranges, that especially 23 to 26, whatever is pretty much on the table. There's a lot of things to choose from. I kind of, if I'm picking something, I will try to make sure that I'm not taking too big of a penalty on Reaper XP, or at least get Bravery bonus streak. If at all possible. But there's so many, because of the way the bravery bonus streaks and power leveling rules completely changed in epics, there's a lot of options. And even about level 26, I might start looking at trying to get sneak into some. I shouldn't say sneak in if I'm the raid leader, but run some legendary shrouds and stuff like that. So, which we'll talk about in the future. All right. Thanks for listening to our show. You can join us next time. We'll have a completely new topic to go over there. I want to thank my guests, Cordovan and Salalazing. If you'd like to support the show, you can visit our website, DDOCast.com. You can support us on Patreon as well. You can also find show notes, past shows, our calendar, other stuff on our website. You can also find us on social media and follow us for latest cast updates. I am at DDOCast on Twitter. I should have asked you this earlier, Jerry, but do you want to share Standing Stone Games or your DDO Twitter stuff?
Yeah, so DDO Unlimited on Twitter and Facebook, and also join us on Twitch. That is DDO Stream. We are streaming a whole bunch during the week, and we would love to get a follow there. DDO.com is where you can find out all the information about the game and how to download it and all that sort of thing.
So if you'd like to join the discussion, you can leave a comment or you can email us at DDOCast@gmail.com. So until next time, may all your attack rolls be crits, all your chest level appropriate, have fun, and don't forget to gather for buffs.